Hi, and welcome back to the Plant-Based Quick Cooking Show. I'm Karen, and I come to you every week from the Center for Plant-Based Living right here in Kirkwood, Missouri. And I'm gloving up today because we're going to be mixing a lot. Today we're making steak sliders, black bean steak sliders. And I know it looks like there's kind of a lot going on around here, but I promise we're still 7 ingredients or less every week. So let's get started. First, we are going to do a dry saute onion. We're going to get that onion going. Now remember, I always tell people in my classes, this is not how you hold a knife. And this is not how you hold a knife. This is how you hold a knife. Pinch the bottom of the blade, wrap your hand around the top of that handle. Now you own that knife. You'll see when you start to do this, you feel like you have a lot more control over it too. So give it a try next time you're cooking. All right. Grab an onion, any onion. We're going to cut off one of the sides, or I should say one of the ends. Put it to the side, and now we're just going to cut that onion back down in half. Now you have 2 equal sides, right? And we're just going to take off the outermost layer. Outermost layer comes right off. Okay. Now we're just going to do some, these do not have to be really uniform in cuts because they're going to go into our food processor eventually. So just some rough chops in there. And then take your one piece left over and compost it, save it for your broth, pitch it, whatever you do in your house. Okay, nice rough chops there. Now heat up your pan really hot. I'm going to pull mine all the way up to 10. That's the hottest it gets. A couple little slices in there. I really want to get these onions cooked pretty quickly, and then we're going to add them into the rest of our mixture. Now while that's heating up, I have a little bit of flax meal here. Finely ground flax meal, and I'm going to add just a little bit of water and stir it. This will become nice and gelatinous, and it'll act as our egg, our binder, one of our binders for our little steak burgers or steak sliders, whatever you'd like to say. Okay, now this is a really fine finely ground flax meal, so you can see how it's already really become very thick. So we'll just let that sit for another minute or so. And I know my pan is already heated up because this is an induction burner and it happens quickly. Sizzle, sizzle. Now when you're doing a dry saute, you want to make sure you keep a little bit of water or vegetable broth next to you so that you can deglaze. Now I'm going to go over here and get a spatula. Okay. Now, when you're doing a dry saute and your pan isn't hot, once you put your vegetables in, pull your heat down to a cooking temperature, which is about a medium high. If you start to get a little bit of burning on the bottom of your pan, that's okay. Don't worry about it. Grab your water. This will help further cool down the pan, and it will deglaze. So you're going to get a lot of great flavors from the bottom of that pan rolling back in to your onions, and it is delicious. So you almost want it to brown a little bit. Now another thing I like to do is I will use salt during the cooking process, not at the end, but just during the cooking process. And if you add a little bit of salt to your onions, that will further pull out the moisture in the onions and really condensing those natural sugars, giving you almost like a caramelization, and it's so delicious. So you've got some browning or some browning from the bottom of the pan or deglazing, and just a teensy bit of salt in here to caramelize your onions, and my goodness, then it's like magic. You hardly have anything in here. No No other flavors, no other ingredients, no oil. Okay, we're gonna let those cook for just a few minutes. We've still got a lot of liquid in that pan, because not really from the water that we put in it, because that's really been evaporated, but all plants have water in them, right? So that's where a lot of the water is coming from. Okay, so I'm gonna get rid of some of these scraps, just to give us a little bit more real estate to work with. And in our food processor, and I'm going to say use your food processor for this, don't use your blender. A blender is just going to pulverize everything too much. You're going to do a couple of cups of whole oats. And I really like these Trader Joe's oats. They're economical. I just like the bag that they're in. And also, they're certified gluten-free. So if you have somebody in your family or your friends or family that are gluten-free, or they just don't like to use gluten, or they don't like to eat gluten, this is the burger for them, right? Okay. Oh my goodness, the onion smells so good. All right. Now, we're going to just give this a couple of quick pulses. That's it. And our onions are still cooking away. They're looking fantastic. They're getting brown. I don't need to cook them too much. And if you want to do a low and slow caramelization on your onions, that's totally fine too. It's up to you. I just didn't want to have raw onions in my burger, but if you do, you can do that too. This is totally up to you. Now that you have this recipe, make it your own. All right, so those onions are going to go for just another minute or so, and I have a cup and a half. I'm doing a smaller version of the recipe tonight, because I just don't have that many people to give it to right now. Go ahead and I'm doing a cup and a half of our black beans, cooked black beans. And let's see, do that. Oh, and the steak seasoning, I mean, this is the magic ingredient, let's be real. The steak seasoning is this Mitchell Street steak seasoning. Smoky and flavorful, that's what they say. I love my Penzies. All right, so I'm gonna put a little bit in there now, just a little bit. And our onions, I think that our onions are really perfect. I mean, they smell delicious, they look delicious, they're nice and brown, they're not caramelized, but I wasn't really aiming for that tonight. Let's see. And I mean, this has just been what, like 4 or 5 minutes? Okay. Put that into your food processor. And a couple more quick pulses. Okay, now I'm going to add our flax. And that is really thick stuff. It's great. So when you're making burgers or sliders, or like even meatballs or anything that needs to really stick together, you want a lot of binders. That's really the key. Binders, binders, binders. So any kind of egg substitute binder, so the flax egg, we call them flax eggs, that's going to be a great substitute or a great binder. Beans are a great binder. We have black beans. And oats are a great binder. We have our oats in here. Potatoes are also a great binder. And I think a sweet potato would be really nice in here. Okay, so now we're pretty well mixed there, and the rest of it is really just by hand. I have my oven preheated at 375. Grab a big mixing bowl. Pour all that business in there, right? Okay. We're going to put in some tomato paste. This is going to add a little bit of liquid. because it's a little dry right now. It's supposed to be a little bit dry because we're gonna then, so you added the tomato paste, which is gonna help. And then we're also going to add 1 avocado. This is gonna help the burgers not fall apart. You know how some burgers are just, or you know, veg burgers, they start to crumble because there's no fat in them. There's not a good amount of fat in them. And you know, we don't use oil, of course, as I've said, so that was not an option. And I've tried some different fats before, like I've tried a cashew cream, but it's really the avocado that works so well in making sure that everything doesn't fall apart. Okay, now I'm going to add a little bit more of my steak seasoning. And that's it. And mash everything together. Another way to get your burgers to not fall apart is to make your mixture and then keep it in the fridge for at least an hour, because that temperature change really helps solidify everything. But right before you do that, at least an hour, I sometimes just do it overnight. But right before you do put everything into the refrigerator, just make sure first that it's not already crumbling, okay? Because then you're just gonna wanna add maybe a little bit of water, or if you have any tomato paste, you can add a little bit more of that. But everything's really doing a great job. It's sticking together already. And it's not too wet, it's not too dry, it's not sticking to my gloves, it's just kind of sticking to itself. So what I'm gonna do now is put this into the refrigerator just to make sure, and for about an hour or so, come back, and then I'll patty everything up and throw it in the oven. All right, I've cleaned up and I have a nice chili bowl full of beautiful chili, very cold mixture. And I'm gonna just fold it all up into itself a little bit, just move it around a little bit. Yeah, and it obviously gets a lot tougher because it's cold, but also it's really, really firm. This is exactly what we want. Okay, so line a baking sheet with parchment paper and take off maybe just like a golf ball size of your mixture and press it down just into a little disc. And then also, as you're doing that, put a little indentation right in the middle of your burger. Just helps it cook all the way through. And really, we're really just warming these burgers up, right? We're not doing cooking, because you could just eat it like this because there's no eggs, no animal products in there, nothing that would really get you sick. So we're just gonna patty all of these up and then put them in the oven, again in my 375 oven. I'll patty these up and then put them into the oven, and I'll be back. Oh yeah. Oh, these look perfect. They're nice, and they've browned up a little bit. Oh my gosh, they're kind of sliding all over the place. Look at that. Oh, they're nice and firm, but also as they cool down, they'll firm up even more. So they may feel a little soft if you eat them now. So just give them 4, 5, 6 minutes or so. But I am hungry, so I'm gonna make one right now. And I have these cute little buns, and I'll put one on there. Adorable, right? Yeah. And remember those quick pickled red onions that we've made several episodes back? If you haven't made them, please make them. They're super, super easy. And I always keep them in my fridge. So I'm going to, actually what I'm going to do first is put some avocado. I know, more avocado on top of our little guy. Nice and soft avocado, perfect, right? That doesn't always happen. Okay, we've got our avocado and the pickles, the quick pickled red onions. Oh, I mean, forget it. This is going to be so delicious. I'm just going to even put another one on there because, you know, why not? And maybe some tomato. Oh, that happened. Yeah, okay. Oh my God. All right, tomato, and that's just sliding all over the place. I think maybe just one little slice of tomato. And I am a mustard lover. I know. Okay, so if you want to put these on the grill, I would say, so the sliders went in 375 oven for 8 minutes on each side. So 16 minutes, flip halfway through. If you want to do these on the grill, if it's summertime and everybody's grilling, so should you. I would still cook the burgers in the oven. Just pull back a couple of minutes. So maybe just do like 6 minutes on each side, and then take them out. And you can just throw them in the fridge at that point if they're not ready for the grill, or you can just put them straight on the grill. And that really, the grill is just to, I guess, finish cooking, but also just kind of get like that smokiness that everybody else's food has too. You can put it in a grill basket if that makes you feel better, but I really do think that they'll sit okay on top of the grill. So let's dig in. Okay, that is super cute. And it's going to be super delicious. If you're making burger sizes, then, oh, and I got, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 little sliders here. So you probably get 6 burgers, and you want to cook those, bake those for 22 minutes, flip them halfway through. So at the 11-minute mark, and then it's the very same thing. You just get burgers twice the size, but these are so adorable and super delicious. All right, I know this was a long episode, but I hope you make these burgers. If you do, tag me. I'd love to see what you did. Thanks for joining us for another plant-based quick show, and I'll see you next week. Oh, losing it all over the place. See ya.